Hello and welcome again to another episode on my channel. My name is Rebecca Ajiman, BSCRN from Ghana, and today we are going to talk about how to pass your CBT exams in 1 hour. It is achievable, it is possible because I did it. Out of the 4 hours, I passed my CBT examination in just 1 hour. If you are new to this channel and you want to know more about nursing stuff and how to migrate from your home country to other countries, then definitely this is the channel for you. If you'd like to go ahead and subscribe and click on the post notification bell icon, that way you wouldn't miss any time I upload videos. So today we are going to be discussing how to intensively and comprehensively prepare for your CBT exams and how to pass it in a span of 1 hour. So CBT stands for computer-based test, and it's the test required for all categories of nurses, mental health nurses, and midwives who want to enter the United Kingdom to fully and effectively practice as registered nurses. And it stands for partial fulfillment for registering for the NMC examination. And before you can sit for your CBT exams, you should have passed your English test of competence, which is either your IELTS or your OET exams, which I've spoken much into details in my previous videos. After you pass this exam, you register with the NMC of UK, which I've also talked about in this particular video, so you can go out and know how to do the registration process. Today I'm going to talk about how to pass the exams. The NMC of UK has so many questions that they ask, and now they are introducing the exam in 2 parts, that is numeracy and theory. This has become necessary because one of my subscribers asked me whether the theory means that you are going to write an essay, and I'm saying no. The CBT exam is written in the Pearson Center in your country, and I gave the direction to the Ghana Center in my CBT registration video. So after you register for this exams, you go in and sit for it. It is 120 multiple choice questions. 120 multiple choice questions, which have 15 of them being numeracy. And if we say numeracy, it is pharmacology calculations, where you'll be given some drugs in forms of questions, and you have to calculate to know the dosages and amounts that you are going to administer as a nurse. And let me state that the US is very, very particular with medication errors, and so you have to pass this part of your CBT exams so that you can enter the United Kingdom legally. The other part of the exam is the theory based, and the book I used to prepare for the CBT exam is the Royal Maxim book, which I ordered from Amazon. However, if you want to have access to the CBT materials, I have done quite some amount of questions, about 150 questions on the CBT exam already, and it is in my playlist. You can go out and check on them. But if you want to have more than 150 questions, then you can send me an email and I'll give you a contact to someone, and the person can give you these materials. So now let's look at how the NMC select the questions. The questions are carefully selected from various books that are standard books for UK practice. And these questions mostly come from, if you see me reading, it's because I'm reading from my script, and I have jotted down this one because there are so many, I can't keep all of them in mind. You have them coming from the NMC code and rules of the nurse. So you should be familiar with the NMC code of conduct for nurses who want to practice in the UK. You also have to know about acts and regulations. You have to know about student and training, delegation, advocacy, management, and leadership. So you can find some questions coming from these rules: management, leadership, advocacy, student training, act regulation, and NMC code of conduct. The rest of the questions come from your nursing practice that you already know. And so I always say, if you are a nurse who is already practicing or you have been to nursing training college, you should find this CBT very easy to pass. And the passing rate for CBT is very, very high. A lot of people pass it at first attempt. And so you find some of these questions coming from wound management, urine, heart and vein conditions, diabetes, specimen collection, care of the elderly, that is the geriatric care. You have them coming from crutches and frame, how to handle crutches and frames, bones and muscles, nutrition, lung, oxygen and oxygen administration, consent and theater, that is if a patient is going to the theater, how to seek consent, communication, pregnancy. This is mostly for the midwives, but you can have about 1 or 2 of them coming for the general nurses. You have to know about nursing theories, the Orions and the Florence Nightingales. You have to know some of these theories and modules because you'll be seeing some of them. You have to know about Clostridium difficile infections, how to manage shock children, that is pediatric nursing. If you're an RGN, you see some of these questions. Blood transfusion questions, nursing care plans, how to draw a nursing care plan, because mind you, if you're practicing in the UK, every patient needs a care plan. You cannot use one care plan to care for all your patients, and you're going to draw care plans before you start your shift. And you have medications, which are very, very crucial. This part of the CBT question should be passed. Medication calculations, that is where they take their numeracy questions from. You have some psychiatric questions, especially with dementia and delirium. That is where most of the questions come from. And then you have medical conditions, general medical conditions, and death and dying. That is caring for the death and dying, especially for this cancer patient, because your nursing care is not only centered on patients who are going to get well or who are ill, but also have to nurse them until the point of their peaceful death. That is, if they are not going to be able to make it to the point of leaving and they are going to die, you have to nurse them until peaceful death. So you have these questions coming from all these angles. Now I'll share a little bit of my test day experience and how everything was like. So I prepared for CBT in 2 weeks. It's possible because every day I was doing mock reviews. I was looking up for questions in Royal Mathson book, and I was also going online, and some of these questions I have put up and given them to you in my previous videos, so you can go out and check on them. I prepared every day. I did 50 questions at least in every day for a span of 2 weeks. It was intensive. Sometimes I go back and revisit the questions I have already done to make sure that the answers were sticking in my mind. After doing this, on test date, I went in fully prepared. They'll send you an email which is called the authorization to test. So when you receive this email, it will give you details on your exam date and time, and confirming the things that you need for your examination. You need a valid passport which you use to register for your NMC registration. So you go to the Pearson's View Center and you present your passport to them. When you go, you are put behind the computer. It is you and the computer, and it is an enclosed space. So you do not see what is happening in the next person's cubicle or in the next person's space. And you have 3 hours now to write your CBT. At first it used to be 4 hours, but now it is going to be 3 hours. And this is what I was doing. You read one question and you read it again to make sure that you understand the question before you select your answer. Because you do this for all the questions, and at the end of the exam, the computer shuts down. Once you press on submit, you do not go back to change any answer. So you have to make sure that every question you are answering is valid and is correct. So take your time. 3 hours is enough for you to read every question twice or even 3 times. But because I had adequately prepared, I read the questions twice and I was okay to select my answers. One thing that happened on my test date is that my PC went off in the middle of the exams. When this happens to you, you have to lift up your hands and draw the attention of the invigilator who is around you to come and fix it for you. Do not try entering any password or anything on the PC to boot your computer. And you'll be given a board and a marker to make any rough preparations or any rough calculations on it. And currently I'm told, or I learned, you'll be provided with calculators in the exam centers so that you can use them in your numeracy questions, which is very good news, so that you do not use more mental energy to elicit your answers. So if your PCs go off, you draw the attention of the examiner who will fix it for you. Before you submit any question, please proofread your answers to make sure they are the right answers. And take note of words like not, except, only, also, never, one. These words stress on, they give you clues on which answers needs to be eliminated or included. So maybe you have a question and it says the following except. Stress and look out for except and know the answer to include. You first need to use your elimination method to eliminate the answers that are not related to the questions first, and then you at least find two answers that are very close to the question. That is where you have to take your time, rethink about the question before you click on the answer, and then you press on select. You do this for all the 120 questions. After that, the computer will ask you whether you want to cross-check your answers. If you want to do that, you go back and start from question 1. You look through all the 120 questions, and after everything, you select on submit, and the exam goes to the NMC of UK. Mind you, after you submit, you cannot change anything on your question. After the examination, about an hour or two, you should find your answer on your NMC portal or on your Pearson's View account, whether you have passed or failed. And this is how the email will look like. If you have passed, this is how it will look like. And I know you are definitely going to pass. At most, at 24 hours, you should find your answer in your portal. Once you get this answer, you can continue with the next phase of the registration process. If you still need any questions or anything baffles your mind concerning the CBT examination, do well to send me an email or comment in the comment section down below, and I'll be ready to answer them. Thanks so much for watching, for liking. Share this video with your friends, with your family, and anybody that needs to know. Until we meet again, it is bye for now.